I'm going to dive right in, everyone, out of respect for your time. I'm Lori Ward. It's really nice having everybody with us here today. Just a few things to share with you. If closed captioning is helpful to you, it's available. And if it is on your screen now and you'd rather it be removed, you can click down at the bottom and that will take care of that. I'm excited about this program because we've been talking about it and partially funding some parts of it for years. And it's an area that Lisa and I kind of got started on together many years ago. So I'm excited to get caught up and find out what's going on. Before we begin, I want to share a little bit about Washington's National Park Fund. We're doing great as an organization. People care wildly about their national parks. They're showing up in droves, and that's a good thing. So we are run by a staff of 7 smart, strong women and a team of 22 board members from all sectors. And they give of their time, their talents, their treasures. Every year we raise more and are giving more to the parks. This year especially is quite a significant year for us. We've gotten some pretty major gifts, and that really helps the parks, and small gifts help as well, you know. So every gift matters to us. We're really grateful to everyone who shows their support. I am going to introduce Lisa. Again, like I said, I've known her for many years, and the virtual field trip will take about 45 minutes max. We'll have 30 minutes presentation by Lisa and then enter into our Q&A portion of the program. If you have questions throughout the time, enter them in there. Enter them into the Q&A box and we'll get to them. Any question, all questions are good. Don't think, oh, I shouldn't be asking this. Dive right in and get your question in the Q&A box. Let's see. So with that, let's get our backpacks packed and on our backs and our boots on, and we're not hiking in sandals because we know better. Let's board the virtual field trip and head on over to Olympic National Park. Lisa Turecek has been at Olympic for 8 years, and prior to that, she was in a position similar at Mount Rainier National Park. Her position is, and I love this, she's Chief of Facility Management for Olympic National Park. Prior to Rainier, she was at Big Bend National Park. And she's been, I can't believe this, with the National Park Service for 32 years. Lisa has a great passion for the maintenance aspect of park operations. She fondly expresses to her colleagues, the people that she works with, her staff, maintenance is how visitors access the resource. And it's really true, because without maintenance, you know, our parks would not be in the shape that they are in. She counts among her proudest moments and career accomplishments the successful completion of 2 applications for parks to be certified as international dark sky parks. And I'll let her tell you more about that as she goes, but she's really passionate about dark skies. I'm guessing that those of you who are with us today are also. And I think that we are all in for a treat because we will learn more about dark skies and dark sky certification that benefits the parks in our beautiful country. With that, Lisa, take it away. We're glad you're with us. Thank you.
Thanks, Lori. Thanks everyone for making time. Like Lori said, my world is usually in roads and trails and buildings, and but there's definitely, I have a personal, and it's got a professional nexus, passion for night skies. So I thought that what I would do is kind of start off with a little bit of a video that's produced by the International Dark Sky Association that kind of explains better than, I'm brave to do this at the beginning because it might make the rest of my presentation look bad in comparison, but it's a good context setting for why dark is important to us. Go ahead.
Here is a night sky with typical light pollution. On a good night, Only the brighter stars and planets pierce the glow. This is what the night sky might look like if we could remove the light pollution. That faint band of light stretching across the sky is the Milky Way, our home galaxy. Because of light pollution, many people have never seen it. Astronomers know all too well the problems caused by lighting up the night. They need clear, dark skies to study the many fascinating objects in the universe. Light pollution simply washes out their view of the cosmos. Lighting up the night sky wastes money and fossil fuels. To keep a 100-watt light bulb turned on every night for a year takes the equivalent energy output from burning half a ton of coal. Multiplied by the billions of lights blazing up from Earth, the cost of energy we use to light up the night is colossal. While lighting is needed, there are some simple things we can do to ensure that it's neighborhood-friendly, energy-efficient, and helps preserve dark skies. We can replace light fixtures that send light up to the sky with ones that direct light down, exactly where we want it. They're called fully shielded fixtures. We can also illuminate only the places that need it. And of course, we can just turn off unnecessary lights. These are smart ways to use lighting. They offer simple solutions to problems caused by light pollution. We have a choice between wasting resources by sending light to the sky or learning to use light more responsibly. Light pollution is a problem each of us can help solve. Together, we can bring back the dark of night to planet Earth.
All right, we'll start off. I've got a PowerPoint that you guys can look at, and I've also got a poll question. Casey, if you could send out that first poll question, that'd be good. So what I wanted to do is just kind of share a little bit about dark skies, why they're important to you and me and all of us, and especially here at Olympic. So, and I wanted to share a little bit about some of the progress we've made to reduce light pollution and maybe some strategies on how all of us can look at our part in, reducing light pollution, in our little facility domains that we have at our home. So I'm looking for the results on this thing. Yeah, and so I think they're all great answers, and man, it's when I look at it, I've had the privilege of being in some places that have amazing dark night skies, and it's just I think one of the things, there was this 2008 or 9 National Geographic article that just talks about how important they are, and for me, it right sizes me in the context of our universe. It makes me realize how big our universe is. And, I like to reflect on, I might be observing light from stars that no longer even exist. It just kind of gives us a feel for just the magnitude and extensiveness of the universe. I had the privilege and opportunity to go to a national park in Guatemala, and it was on the Yucatan Peninsula, and it's pretty flat there, and it's a park that had a lot of Mayan ruins on it, and so some of these old pyramids the summit of the pyramids are up above the forest canopy. So the forest canopy kind of keeps a lot of the, screens a lot of the night sky. So anyway, you guys may have traveled to some of those places and been able to go up those ruins in the daytime, but we were able to climb up. It was a place that was a potential future national park. And we were able to go up there at night, and it was like just basically a highlight of my life to be in the exact same place that those Mayan astronomers had observed the stars. You know, they were the elite of the society, and you know, to kind of reflect on how the night sky was so important. It's, you know, it was how we navigated in this world, and it also was our calendar. You know, it provided predictability. You know, the night sky changes every year, and you can tell exactly what the date is by where the stars are. And so it was this way that it was a calendar, and it was able to predict when to plant and when not to. So if you go to the next slide, Casey, you know, besides just keeping us right-sized in our world, the recent phenomena of electricity has allowed us to have illumination at night. That's a relatively recent phenomena to the world. And so a lot of our lights detrimentally affect wildlife. You know, I can go up my house here in Port Angeles and I'll hear white-crowned sparrows singing at 2 in the morning in town. And I think that they may get some of their prompts from some of the ambient lighting. There's more and more the studies coming out that you know, the artificial illumination keeps us from our circadian rhythms that are we're inherently wired to. So there's some health risks to us getting really divorced from the natural circadian 24-hour cycle. And there's some studies on security risks when we have a lot of light that kind of can create a sense of security that may or may not be there. And then lastly, there's obviously a lot of energy and money and resources spent lighting a lot of things that don't need to be lit. So if you go to the next slide, I have worked, having done 2 applications with the International Dark Sky Association, and that's who did the video for this. And I'm going to point you to their webpage at the end, but there's a lot of resources there. They have a certification for dark sky, international dark sky parks, and they have a couple different tiers, communities and places. But it's a certification that they grant, and they have, I was just recently on a detail in Southeast Arizona, and we successfully completed a application for Chiricahua National Monument, and it was the 104th International Dark Sky Park. And what that does is it provides kind of an outside confirmation and recognition of dark skies that helps promote the dark sky conservation efforts, and it can also attract visitors. So next slide. The 3 criteria which Olympic has in spades are to become an international dark sky park is that you have to have good quality night skies. You have to interpret those night skies, you know, have programs that make them accessible, and then take actions to improve and to reduce your footprint of light pollution. And those actions are internal to the park and also can be working with external entities. So like in our case, we're having discussion, we would be having discussions with the city of Port Angeles or other stakeholders. This slide, I'm going to take off my hat, but this slide kind of shows the distribution of international dark sky parks throughout the world. And so you can see there's a lot in Europe and in the United States. The next slide will show, I think, just the US. And you can see there's a concentration in the Southwest. That's there's not a lot of development, and the deserts have pretty good quality night skies. And then the next one is the Pacific Northwest. And what I noticed when I looked at this was there's nothing in Washington. And I would love for Olympic to become one of the first parks in Washington. So go to the next slide. This is just kind of a night sky photo of the US, and you can kind of see where the natural dark sky areas are. And you can see in the Southwest why there's probably a lot of concentration in that area there where there's not a lot. If you look up in the Northwest, Casey's pointing us, you can kind of see right there, that dark spot is the Olympic Peninsula. And most of that is Olympic National Park. So we have got this nice chunk of preserved dark skies adjacent to some pretty big population areas. So what I want to do is continue to preserve that and maybe get that officially recognized. The next slide shows some of our science data. This is just one of some photometric slides that shows that it's not the whole horizon, but it kind of shows some of the sources of light pollution. The blue is better, and then the purple and red and the yellow are progressively decreasing light pollution. But you can kind of see that we have a lot of blue still in our night skies. We have some pretty neat photos of this that with some science folks who study all this stuff. I want to show you some pictures. The next slide will show you some amazing photos. These are taken by some visitors who have shared these photos with us. But this is Hurricane Ridge at night, you know, and that's a pretty magic photo. You can go to the next one, Casey. These are some out on the coast and some forest shots. Pretty amazing skies we have here in the park. Go to the next slide. I want to talk about some of the programs, and I have, well, let me ask, I got another poll. How many of you guys have ever visited an international dark sky park? That's a poll question. Yeah, it's becoming, there's a lot more parks getting certified, and it's possible too that we've visited places without realizing they had that certification. Got another poll question as I show a little bit about some of the programs we do at Olympic National Park. How many of you have attended, we have a volunteer, John Gore, one of his night sky programs that he does in the summer at Hurricane Ridge? If you haven't attended one of those, I would strongly encourage it. He lives over on the Kitsap Peninsula. He's a science teacher during the school year, and then in the summers he volunteers, and it's just magic to go up and share share in his passion and knowledge for the night skies. The only issue is at this latitude north, the dark starts late, so you have to stay up late to watch this. John has some scopes, and depending on the time of year, he'll focus on some pretty cool items in the night sky, either planets, or he can show some pretty cool constellations and things that are neat to see with his big lenses. The next slide, I kind of want to show some of the projects that we've done. We've been progressively working on improving some of our light fixtures in the park. And we have gotten support from Washington National Park Fund. Some of the work that we've already done to reduce our light pollution has come from grants that we've gotten from you guys. So thank you very much for that. So what we kind of focus on in these projects is we want to improve the quality of the lighting. And so often we're overlighting things that we don't need to light, and what we intend to light, like the walking surfaces, isn't that well lit. So we want to provide sufficient light for safe visitor experience. Where we can, often with the new technology, we can go from incandescent or fluorescent to LED, and so we really reduce the energy consumption. I did a big project at Big Bend, and that's a, if any of you guys have ever been there, that's a pretty isolated place, and the entirety of the light pollution in the park was created by the park. And so we did this big retrofit of over 500 light fixtures, and at the end of it, we were providing better lighting at 5% of the energy consumption that we had prior to this project. Again, like we said, we want to provide adequate lighting. We want people to safely get up to read bulletin boards and walk surfaces. And then, of course, we want to preserve that night sky resource that we have in abundance here at Olympic. Next slide. Just to kind of give you guys an overview of this, we've kind of broken up the park into geographic areas, and we're kind of just tackle and conquer, divide and conquer projects. So we've done Hurricane Ridge. We're actually going to be rehabbing the visitor center next in a couple of years, and we'll even get better. There's only a few light fixtures up there in the visitor center, so those will get even better. We did the Hoh Rainforest a couple of years ago, and that was in part supported by Washington National Parks grant. If you guys are ever out there, you can look at some of we've got these bollards that kind of like the walkway, and what they do is they just direct the light real downward. We're working on some of our lighting at Heart of the Hills. We're doing the entrance station there, so we're going to be doing some light fixtures there, and then some of our lighting on our, as we're rehabbing the bathrooms in our campgrounds, we're just getting better exterior lights on those. Another project that was funded by Washington National Parks Fund is the Claylock Moor and Quinault areas, and that's in progress. And lastly, all we have to do is get Lake Crescent and Staircase. So we are making progress, and thanks to you guys. So just wanted to get into a little kind of information about the mechanics of what was alluded to in that video. So the strategy on lighting retrofits is we want to just light what we need to light. I'll have a couple pictures here, but like that video showed, often we're lighting a lot of things we don't need to do. And often you can do that lighting with significantly reduced wattage. Another way to control to reduce the light energy is controlling your lighting. So you can use motion sensors or timers. I have a front porch light, and I turn it off at night. So that's a control. It's not automatic, but that's another way to control it. Sometimes people have floodlights they use in their yards, and that's a high source of pollution. But if you're just using it when on a motion controller there, it's like it's appropriate, and the way it's controlled, it's mitigated just with controls. I'll show you some pictures in some following slides, but the selection of the light fixtures should be for shielding. So what that does is that prevents light escape upward, and it directs the light downwards. Another thing, and I'll direct you to the website, but if you can use warmer temperature lights, that helps us with our circadian rhythms, and it's less impactful to wildlife. Next slide shows, this is a project, this is just a before and after. I was just at Chiricahua, and this is just, you know, a project, and it's a bathroom that we had that you could see on the top photos, the before, and you could see the glare from this light from the road. And all we did is we changed these light fixtures that illuminated. So if you were coming in the car and you would use the restroom at night, there was we went to LED, and so it was like we were using about 10% of the energy consumption afterwards, but you can kind of see on the top, there's trespass lighting that goes up and out, and there's a glare from that. You can kind of see that what we intended to light was the ground surface. It's not even that well lit. So this is a good example of effective retrofit that provides better lighting for what we need to do. We want to have a safe access to the restrooms and we were able to improve the lighting, reduce the energy and consumption. And we are also able to reduce the night sky. So you would drive into the park and see this glare, and now you don't. So that's pretty cool. I'm going to show you some pictures of this is from Chiricahua, but this is on the left side. That's a wall sconce, and that's a real good way to direct it downward. So that's the light fixtures that we use that provided that new light fixture, or provided light. It's an IDA approved night sky friendly light fixture. Architecturally, you can get other ones, but you can kind of see on the tin hat kind of side, it's got shielding that keeps the light fixture, the extent of the shielding extends to the bottom of the lamp. And then the center bottom one, that's like a stairway light. And we've got these on the bollards. We have lamps, illuminated walkways. It directs it down and provides illumination for the walkway. So those are pretty good examples of some good light fixtures. Here's some ones, and these are all from parks, and they're pretty typical. You can see that because the light fixture, the sides allow escape of light, that you tend to get a lot of light fixture that illuminates your wall and your ceiling, and it doesn't direct it down. So those are lights in parks that we have since replaced. I got another question too. I was going to ask you guys if any of you have ever the poll question number 4. Cool. Yeah, you know, it's when you get in communities where there's a big awareness of this, and I don't know if any of you guys have ever like been down to Tucson, and a lot of places are now getting ordinances that support that. So when we, you know, do it at our house and become aware of kind of the local ordinances, we're creating, you know, the chance for our kids and our grandkids to be able to see the stars like we have in our lifetime. So that's pretty cool. That's a good percentage. My last slide is just, I want to provide this resource. This www.darksky.org is the International Dark Sky Association. It's a great organization. You can join it, or you can watch the whole video that I showed there. They also have on their site some information and some actual fixtures specified that can help. If you're interested in getting more involved or doing things, it's a great resource. Also has some information and some amazing photos of some worldwide dark sky parks. So I encourage you guys to check that out. So that's, you know, kind of where we are at Olympic. We're hoping to, I just came back from a detail and finished a successful application. I worked on the very first national park to get a dark sky was Big Bend National Park, and I'm really proud of having been a part of that. And I hope to have Olympic be the first national park in Washington to get that official certification. So I'm going to open it up for questions. Any of you guys have that?
Lisa, thank you. Thank you for what you do. Thank you for caring so deeply about, you know, such an interesting topic. I have a number of questions. There's some in the box too. And folks, if you have other additional questions, feel free to add them to the Q&A box. You know, my husband and I are building a home, and when we went online to purchase the lights for the exterior, you can sort by dark sky. And it's pretty cool. I love that we have that option. And I think that's really terrific. I wonder when all of this, initiative started, and I think it's amazing. It was interesting to see the map and have Casey, thank you, Casey, for pointing out where Olympic is. Excuse me. I spent a couple summers working up in the Upper Peninsula way back when, and the entire Upper Peninsula of Michigan is black, and I can understand why, because it's so remote up there, and it was fun to see it on that big map. With that, I'm going to go to the Q&A box and pull up a few questions. What steps does the park need to take to get the certification? We saw a number of things that you're working on, Lisa, and it's good to see all that. And kind of where are we in the process, and what needs to be accomplished to get to the certification stage?
Oh, so we have all the criteria we have for it. So now all we lack is submitting an application. And so, if you guys want to encourage, let the park management know that that's a priority. It's a very involved application effort. So when I was on the 4-month detail in the Southeast Arizona groups, and that kind of timeline gave us a deadline, and we were able to get it done. But that application was 150 pages long. So so that's all we're doing. But I feel like I'm kind of on a roll, and to get park support, you have to provide some of the science, and we're looking with some volunteers. And we might look to Washington National Park to help provide some of the things that are more challenging for us to do to help encourage volunteer participation. But I think we need it to be a park priority, and we need to just, start working on the application.
Thank you.
And this remains the same thing at Rainier. They have very good night skies too. I see that there's a couple questions about Rainier. I worked at Rainier. It is not the same guy, or at least when I was there, it is not the same guy. It's another fantastic amateur astronomer who's got this passion and shares the program. So we there's a lot of local astronomers that donate a lot of time and share their passion. So it's not the same. And I'd love to, for all 3 parks to be, I don't know if North Cascades does programs, but they certainly have good night skies. And, I think all 3 of the parks that you guys support are eligible, and it's a matter of who's going to get their stuff together to get it application submitted. But, I think if you guys are interested and want to let the park know, it'd be cool. It helps us when we're prioritizing work.
Great. I'm guessing there's people with us today that might be in touch, and we'll have your email on at the end, I imagine. If we don't, then yeah, great. So they'll be able to reach out, and we would be happy to help spread the word about the need for volunteers if you still have the need.
There are people who go around and do this, and so sometimes they want their expenses paid. So, and it's like, Big Ben's was, it's a very involved, and I told the International Dark Sky Association, if you want more parks to be certified, you ought to like make your application process be a little less arduous.
150
it remains what it is. They want to have high standards. So
yeah, that's something. Let's see, how much more work is needed? We talked a little bit about that to get to the dark sky, get the certification, and
it's the application, and I've actually started on some drafts, so that it's just the application that we need.
Great. How will the park experience change for visitors if Olympic gets the designation?
It doesn't. It won't change anything. What it does is an element of that application has a park management guidelines. So we adopt officially guidelines that are require us to consider this in any retrofits. We do that already, but we officially adopt them as park management practices. It doesn't really change anything from the visitor, but what it could do is it gives you an official certification that might attract people, or it might bring increased awareness. I don't know that it changes anything. It kind of helps, we commit to, it commits us to continuing these programs and managing our lights in that way. And it might give us, there may be people who travel to see night skies, and it might attract visitors who think, oh, there's nothing in Washington with dark skies. And it's like, well, there are, but we just don't have that certification. So I don't think it changes it dramatically.
I'm going to ask you about, yeah, we're good. You mentioned warmer lights, which I appreciated hearing. And you said that I think if I got it right, it could potentially impact wildlife.
Yeah, and I didn't get into it too much, but on that website, some of the warmer lights are, they're the yellower lights as opposed to the blue lights. And so if you look at lamps, there's degrees on them. And what you'll want to get are I think they're lower degrees. That website has them, and they have recommendations on the color of the light. And that's information you can look at when you're selecting the lamp in your fixture. So that's an easy retrofit. Even if you're not going to change the fixture, you can change your lamp. So that's something everyone can do. If you want to kind of reduce it, you can just change your bulb with a warmer degree bulb, and that helps.
Did I get it right that you said it impacts wildlife? Did I miss that?
Well, yeah, it contributes to light pollution, and so the warmer is seems to travel less far, and so it's cumulative. It doesn't travel as far, and it's closer to natural light sources. So it's not perceived as larger and more artificial light source. So yeah.
Thank you. I like that. Let's see. We've got one more question, and I do want to say to folks, if you have not gone to either Olympic when John, and we've been funding that for a number of years, proud to say, if you haven't seen John Gore's program or the one at Rainier that folks have mentioned, it's just mind blowing when you stand there and you look through those telescopes and you can see the rings around Saturn. It's like, I've never experienced that before. And it's just so humbling to experience that. So everyone, when you get a chance, a question is there any thought of putting an observatory at Olympic like the one at Glacier? Do you know about the one at Glacier? An observatory?
I don't, no, I don't. And I, it's like, I think it's something we could consider. We don't want to have, I don't know what the extent of that is, but we definitely, we've got our observatory is our parking lot up there, and we're able to conduct programs. But if it's something that is consistent with park goals and missions, it might enhance things. It's something we definitely consider.
Lisa, when does John Gore's program start up at Olympic? Do you know?
They start in June. I'll have to check, but it's so he times them with the moon because the moon phase, and then with he's a teacher, so when he's out of school, so
And referring to red lights at night, why do they use red lights at night? Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, and so this is another thing. This might be part of the answer to the warmer lights. Red light is a warmer light than a blue light. And so when you're looking at your star charts and then going back to look at the stars, your eyes dilate less for red light. So when you're going back to needing light to read things and then back, you probably all have experienced it. Like when you're, it's another thing about using the lower lights is that when we overlight, it can make it more dangerous because our eyes will dilate to the bright light source. So there's a lot of more recent information that helps us when we're putting these light fixtures on. That's why we use warmer, lower lights, that you don't create this blinding effect that can actually create more of a safety hazard that the lighting was intended not to do. So the same kind of thing when the red light causes our eyes not to dilate as much, so that when you go back up to looking at the stars, you don't have that time for your eyes to, they don't contract as much, so you can go back to stargazing more quickly.
Thank you. Few comments to share. One of our friends recently read a book called The End of Night that really got her interested in this topic. It's a good
wow.
read. And yeah, The End of
Why?
Night. Yeah, a good read and very informative and inspiring. So folks, if you're interested, The End of Night is a good book. And then another friend shares, same thing, read the book. Let's see, what time does the observatory, this is about going back to Glacier, the observatory at Glacier is at St. Mary's Visitor Center. Its permanent ranger, Lee Rademacher, is the contact there, just FYI. You may know
Okay.
Lee. Yeah, so there we go. Any other questions, anyone? Comments? Thank you, everybody, for your good questions. And let's see. Could you comment on the bright vehicle? Are we okay in time, Casey?
Yeah, I think we're good.
Yeah, thank you. One more question for you, Lisa. Could you comment on the bright vehicle headlights?
Yeah, I don't know anything scientifically about them, but boy, they are cool lights. And you know, as I'm getting older, I do not like them. So
Mhm.
I think they're great for the driver of that vehicle, and that's about it.
Thank
But
you.
yeah, I think the reason that I struggle with them is, as I'm getting older and my night vision isn't as good, is that they are those cool lights, and they look brighter. And what happens is when I look into them, then when I go back to the lower ambient lights, I'm, you know, my pupils think that the speed that you adjust your pupil dilation must get slower as you get older, and so that's why that happens. Yeah, I don't know that much about it, but you know, personally, I struggle with them at night.
Well, Lisa, thank you for what you have done both at Big Bend and now your effort at Olympic. I'm confident that it's going to happen. We are right now focused on raising nearly anywhere from 15 to 20,000 for developing the educational program there at Olympic in Night Sky. So I'm excited about that. Just everyone, so you know, over in last year, we raised and awarded more than 650,000 to the three parks in these 4 core areas. And boy, I'd say that dark skies and night skies falls under advancing science and research, improving visitors' experiences, expanding volunteerism and stewardship, and providing for youth and families. So I'd say you're across the board on all of them.
Yeah.
We're grateful again to you, Lisa. Thank you for being here. I hope you enjoyed it.
Oh
And
yeah,
everyone-
it was fun. Thank you guys for taking time and letting me be with you via Zoom. And
Yeah,
thanks
we
for your
love it when,
support, you know.
Yeah.
You know, thanks for your support. It really does. We're able to do a lot of things here because of your Washington National Park Fund. So thank you.
lots of thanks coming into you from the folks who are with us. Everyone join us in a couple weeks when we have some future virtual field trips. Stay tuned on our website. And just thank you for caring about your national parks and learning more with us today with Lisa Turecek. Take care, everyone. Have a great afternoon. Stay cool out there.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.